Record to the cloud, so that means we're in business. Even though this is not the school of business, just saying. What I'd like to do today is play some of these, but I do have a volunteer for review. You got what? A volunteer for review.
I volunteer to go first.
Oh, all right.
I volunteer actually not more.
And I know I've talked with some of you. I don't have all of them in, but what I want to do is play a few of these. And the ones I have I really like a lot. And I think you guys did good work. Secondly, after that, I want to talk to, I got some technical issues from, I've talked with some of you about them. And we'll see if we can't clear that up before we go. So with that said, let's see. No, that's not. This is Carter.
Yeah, that's key.
Yeah, Carter volunteered. He stepped forward. He said he'd go first. And so here's the first of the presentations.
Hello, my name is Carter, and I'm going to be doing a presentation on the Viking burial ship. And the reason I chose this is because I saw an anime called Vinland Saga about 2 years ago. It was an anime about Vikings. It was story, gruesome, action-packed, and it was just a great experience. So I just thought I would learn a little bit more about the Vikings. And I have my mushroom guests here to join us in that. The oyster ship was discovered in 1904 in a burial mound near Tonsberg of the west coast of the Oslo Fjord. I don't even know how to say it. But an unidentified object was found in the ship's burial chamber, and it dates back to the year 834 CE. Based on an analysis of the tree rings in the wood, the ship was also built around 820 CE in Norway. Because of how small the vessel is, it was mainly used for voyages, and there are about 15 holes on each side of the vessel, indicating that there were 30 people rowing the ship. There were 2 women of high status found on the ship who were thought to be religious figures, princesses, queens, or even sorcerers. It is interesting that the 2 women were seen as sorcerers because pictures were found in that color vulva, which is like the magical wand in a wagon with magical practices in their possession. They were also seen to be wearing some silken clothing. In fabrics like silk and samite were luxury bags to the Vikings and symbolized people of high social status, both of which were found in the Osberg's Viking burial. Silk was known as a status symbol because of it being born and having an association with other places like the Mediterranean. Even so-called silks were affiliated with people of high status. The Osberg ship is one of the few burial ships for women. Women often had a strong influence through their husbands. One terms that had women control were used as religious and administrative centers. Despite women being treated differently from men, it was noted that in Viking burial, they were likely treated as equals to men. The ship had an elongated pink design to cut through the water with a sea serpent head on the prow. It has a texture of interlaced animated python fin, which is, in quotes, the most characteristic characteristic motif in the Vikings decorated repertoire. The mound was 44 meters in diameter, 2.5 meters high, but it may have originally been almost 6 meters high. In the book, the ship appears to have a black exterior up until the edges of the side of the ship, which are light gray color. The ship is mounted on a long white pedestal, which appears to be made of marble. It also has this big brown wood piece on the bottom, which I assume is to help glide the ship across the water. The ship has a cylindrical mast, which is twice as tall as the bow. The ship is built similar to a kayak, as it is symmetrical on both the front and the back. It has that same spiral shaped bow in the front and back of the ship. The ship also appears to be made out of wood. There are also several holes along each side of this ship. The ship has a long yet wide shape, resembling a circle but not quite round enough. Yet towards the bottom, it appears greater, was only rounded on the front end of the ship. The ship appears smooth on the outside, while having, with the front edges, having those designs of animals. Although we're looking at the designs, I can't quite make out the fact that they are animals. With gaps that look like they would be bumpy. The deck is made out of oak wood, and the mast is made from pine wood. There are also signs that the ship had been broken into more than a century after it was buried. There wasn't a job breaking, there was a struggle. As I mentioned before, there were 2 women of high status found on the ship that were wearing silk clothing, and there were other fabrics on the ship as well. But there were a lot of group too, including clothing, kitchen equipment, ship equipment, carved animal heads, over a dozen horses, 6 dogs, 2 cows, found in the
Man,
boat.
they started getting-
Isn't that exciting?
No, it's hard.
I actually do, I have the ship with me right here, and I will explain it. I'm not gonna retake this because like, I have a lot to explain. But I will say, I didn't upload all the photos because it wouldn't let me email it to myself. There was too many megabytes. But now on to what I did. So first I had to draw it out. Sorry everyone, but I couldn't upload some of the pictures that I needed for this document. So I think this is all I could really upload that was within my megabyte range for a Word document, but we'll continue on. So, sketches, these beautiful sketches to identify the like everything I needed to know like about this piece. So I first started off with like a piece that was like 10.5 inches by 1 inch. And then I had another piece that was like 6 inches by like 1 inch. And it was too small, it looked too small, so I just increased it. I just made a bigger piece that was 8 inches by 1 inch. And then I just branched off of there, added more pieces till it was a rectangular shape. And then it's like I'm not gonna record this by the way. Then I just made like drag my knife around the edges to make it kind of that round shape. Cut it out that round shape to make it look kind of like an egg, as you can see in the bottom photo. The ship flip upside down. And then I just made these little branch things on the middle piece and the middle piece that was a little over 10, maybe 12 inches long, which I bent the 2 ends on and just kind of piece of the dent of the ship. Those pieces are going, those branch pieces are just going along the ship. There are 2 holes on the top and the bottom, and I couldn't find over any to make the things that fit. And so Like, I didn't know what to do, so I just had some paper. I tried my best, I moved it, I let it settle overnight, because up to 1 in the morning when I was done. So then I taped it on. And the tape didn't work, so I used a stronger tape. Then I just started, after I got that done, I just started, painting it, and like, I built the mast. I actually have to show here. You can see the details. Fortunately, it's where I was able to class. But anyways, I painted it black on the bottom. And I painted the sides gray. And I painted the mast black, but some of the paint just wouldn't stay on top of the tape. I had to tape it. If you like, you get that round shape with watercolor paper. That's the paper I used for the bottom as well. And I painted the deck brown, of course, and I used like paper cut into triangles and have like a thin paper strip to make the curls. And so like that's basically it. And I also used cardboard, of course, to make that second layer for the ship. And I'll show it all to you in class. And then I also have this next slide. This next slide is my bibliography, and this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy.
Well, any questions for Carter? What'd you think? Comments, Mackenzie?
Well, I went to high school in Paradise. Say, transportation skills, I don't know. They're really good.
Well,
I appreciate it.
good. Well, I like the model you have. Maybe well, let's take, just send me a picture of it with your phone, email it to me, and I think we'll be good.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, let's see. I saw Victor online here. What do we have? Anybody else want to jump in? I'll be saying, how about, okay, good. Oh, here we're seeing great stupa at Sanchi. And here we go.
Hi, my name is Rohit Verma, and I'm going to present a beautiful creation, great Sanchi Stupa, which is located in Madhya Pradesh, India. Sanchi Stupa is one of the oldest stone structures in India built during the modern period. The sculptures, monuments, and lush gardens of Sanchi Stupa have been designated as the World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Sanchi, a small village, is located at the foothill very close to the capital city of Madhya Pradesh. The place attracts wanderers from across the world with its ancient stupas, monasteries, and prosperous Buddhist culture. Sanchi is a Buddhist complex famous for its great stupa on a hilltop at Sanchi town in Rezing district of the state of Madhya Pradesh. It is located about 23 kilometers from Rezing town district headquarters and 46 kilometers northeast of Bihar, the capital of Madhya Pradesh. The Great Sanchi Stupa, the most celebrated of the structures at the historic site of Sanchi. It is one of the oldest Buddhist monuments in the country and the largest stupa at the site. The Great Stupa was originally built in the 3rd century BCE by the Mauryan Emperor Ashoka and is believed to house ashes of the Buddha. The simple structure was damaged at some point during the 2nd century BCE. It was later repaired and enlarged, and the elements were added. It reached its final form in the 1st century BCE. The building is 37 meters wide and 17 meters high. The dome-shaped under with green highlights the portraits of the mound of dirt that was used to cover Lord Buddha remains. It has a solid core that cannot be emptied. The Hermita that the red highlights is inspired by a square railing that surrounds the mound of dirt, making it a burial place. The chhatra was procured from the umbrella, placed over the mound to protect it from elements, as the symbolic value of Anda expanded over time. The central pillar that holds the umbrella was set to represent the pilot of the universe. The 4 noble truths are that life is suffering. The cause of suffering is desire. The cause of desire must be overcome. When desire is overcome, there is no more suffering. Once individuals come to fully understand the 4 noble truths, they are able to achieve enlightenment or the complete knowledge of the Dharma. Stupas were originally traditional burial mounds for everyday people in ancient India. They had no religious significance. They were simply memorials that were less elaborate and conspicuous than they are today. Buddha's death changed it for them. Now, stupas are a place for meditation. They're often used as prayer halls or temples. These have been used for a long time within Buddhism, and they have spread throughout the world to wherever has large Buddhist populations. It's unfair to talk about Buddhism, Sanchi Stupa, and not life story of Buddha. At this time of great potential, Siddhartha Gautama, the future Buddha, was born into a royal family. Growing up, the Buddha was exceptionally intelligent and compassionate. Tall, strong, and handsome, the Buddha belonged to the warrior caste. It was predicted that he would become either a great king or spiritual leader. Since his parents wanted a powerful ruler for their kingdom, they tried to prevent Siddhartha from seeing the unsatisfactory nature of the world. They surrounded him with every kind of pleasure. He completely mastered the important combat training, even winning his wife Yasodhara in an archery contest. Suddenly, at age 29, he was confronted with impermanence and suffering. On dread outing from his luxurious place, he saw someone desperately sick. The next day, he saw an old man and finally a dead person. He was very upset to realize that old age, sickness, and death would come to everyone he loved. Siddhartha had no refuge to offer them. The next morning, the prince walked past a meditator who sat in deep exhaustion. When their eyes met and their minds linked, Siddhartha stopped mesmerized. In a flash, he realized that the perfection he had been seeking outside must be within mind itself. Meeting that man gave the future Buddha a first and enticing taste of mind, a true and lasting refuge which he knew he had to experience himself for the good of all. The Buddha decided he had to leave his royal responsibilities and his family in order to realize full enlightenment. He left the palace secretly and set off alone into the forest, and rest is history.
The Sanchi Stupa was commissioned by Emperor Ashoka of the Maurya dynasty in the 3rd century BC. The Great Stupa at Sanchi is amongst the most critical Buddhist landmarks reflecting Buddhist art and architecture. Built of bricks in the Mauryan period, it flourished till the 11th century. The expansion of the stupa happened during the Shunga dynasty, which took over the Mauryan dynasty.
Well, we have the author, the videographer here. Any questions, any comments? Harder.
It was a good presentation.
Yeah, I thought this was really good. I was interested in this soundtrack that you laid on that too. That was really quite nice. And I think with both Carter's and Pulkett's presentations, when you end it and then you have all of the credits, it's actually, these look like professional movies. And that's how and why when you go to the movies, you get the title page like this. And secondly, at the end, you get the long list of credits. And this is it. This is how it works in the real world. And this was very good.
Maybe me and Paul could do our own movie together or something in the future.
Hey, I'm telling you, the possibilities are endless. And so let's take a look at another one. Anybody have a preference here? Yeah, is Victor with us today? I didn't know if I remember seeing him. Oh, he's on, good. You go with that, Victor?
Doesn't seem he has a mic,
Oh,
so he doesn't have a choice.
well, it's a good one. I've seen it and I'll share it.
Today I'm going to talk about the Raymond style. Before talking about the Raymond style, we have to know about its culture behind it. So we're going to talk about the Chavin culture. The Chavin culture was an ancient society that flourished and grew between 1500 and 300 BC, producing the Raymond style as an item. The Raymond style is thought to have been revered by the Chavin people and is also acknowledged by contemporary researchers as significant work of Chavin art. The Chavin culture is called after the Chavin, the wonder archaeological site, which is found in what is now the province of Huari in the Peruvian department of ADAH. It is thought that the location of Chavin the Wonder served as a ceremonial and sacred place for the annual religious world. When the Chavin culture first emerged in the Peruvian Andes, the temples that were found in Chavin the Wonder and also the artifacts that were found there are proof of this. The Raimondi stele is one of the artifacts attesting to the Chavin Wonder's religious role. Discovery. Okay, so according to the records, the Raimondi stele was found in 1874. Despite being significant to the culture, The stele was not discovered in a temple or an ancient site. This stele was given the name of Antonio Raimondi after the Italian traveler who found it. He was also invited to lunch by a native while exploring the Situ region of Peru. One account claimed that Raimondi found the stele at the Bingo Wanderer's main shrine. Another story also claims that the fire occurred in a peasant's cabin in California and Chuco. Purpose of the work. According to the interpretation, Raimondi's stele's picture represents that God or a divinity with two stars. A third of the stele is supposed to be taken up by the god's figure, with the remaining space being filled by the god's headpiece. The story claims that the deity had a man's body with a bull's head and a cat's hands and feet. The Raimondi stele, according to this source, is also connected to Hinduism in some way. And the deity, there's an essential another portrayal of Shiva at the moment of reaching full self-mastery, according to the source. The stele may be turned over to reveal a new picture. It changed into a stack of rose, smiling, and friends, replacing God's headpiece. The deity's countenance likewise shift from one of dread to one of joy. It has also been noted that when the stele is turned over, the god's staff is transformed into a series of stacked faces. Belief system. So the Chavin civilization may have believed in duality and reciprocation of like life and human society because of the twofold picture of the remote soldier. It also has been noted that some issues were shared by other Indian cultural groups and that many other Indian civilizations are to displace this concept. Additionally, it has been noted that the power of the gods to change in front of their followers is one of the fundamental elements of the Indian religion. Therefore, it's probable that sleeping the Raymond stele as part of the ceremonies surrounding it meant transforming the deity in front of the worshipper. The Raymond stele is a treasured work of art, significant archaeological site, and a holy monument in social and Spanish civilization with dates around 900 BC. It is made of fine and polished granite and is 7 feet tall. So the Ramon style in terms of art, which I think people are renowned for a carving method known as contour revealing. The Ramon style contains a very finely detailed carving that's almost imperceptible on the stone itself, but it's quite noticeable on relief or drawings. A duplicate stone carving made in the courtyard of the Venus National Museum of Archaeological Anthropology and Persian History, where it's now on exhibit. They carve figures on the stone altar depending on the angle on which the stone is being seen, and they also change when new primary light source change. This is the more common approach. In other words, when seen from one angle, the right way up, the Raimondi stele shows a dreadful deity holding to Wachuba acting. However, when seen from another angle, the upside down, the same deity's address is revealed to be a stuffed long smile tempted faces, and his head resembles a rectal more than a human. Depending on what time of the day the cell viewed, the normal modification also occur. This specific art genre was intentionally challenging to comprehend and interpret. It is so that this technique was employed in the Chinese civilization, since the society was probably ruled by a privileged class of shamans of high price. Importance and representation. What is not about shaman culture, as we said before, is reflected in the carving style and representation of its god walkers to be duality. As previously indicated, these styles showed an indigenous shaman or god holding a wachama or some pedal tactics in each hand when viewed with the proper setup. Archaeologically speaking, there is only indirect evidence to support the use of any psychotropic drugs, and certainly not enough evidence to elaborate on their specific usage. This is despite the fact that there are currently a number of cults that believe that Chavin frequently used the cactus as a means of communion with gods. Furthermore, it is unclear whether the general populace or the elite shaman classes frequently consume the cactus. Okay, so now in conclusion, the Raimondi, we can see that the Raimondi soul is a monolith created by the Chavin civilization and ancient society that flourished in the Peruvian army between 1500 and 300 BC. It may be found in Raimondi's wake is said to have been a holy item for this community due to the fact that it's a significant example of that art. It is also a highly priceless item for contemporary academics. The Chavino-Huancan archaeological site is where the Chavino culture gets its names, and this is situated in the province of Huari, which is part of the ADAH department of Peru.
Very good, very good. Have we, do we have Victor now? Thought maybe you'd like to ask him a question.
Oh, yeah, no, like,
Yeah, no video, no mic. Okay,
not yet video, but not like.
well, that's kind of what I was thinking too. However. Yeah. Oh,
It's what again, wow.
we have all been here before. All right, it's Asia. Let's see, it's 5:37. Okay, well, let's watch one more. Anybody here want me to play their video?
We can vote on something.
How about this one? This is Olivia. I'm not sure she's with us here. No,
Can't ask her any weird or strange questions not related to her health.
well, I guess so, but let's take a look at this one. This is a shorter one. This is kind of an interesting aspect of these files. It'll tell you exactly how long it is. They're on the bottom, but you knew that.
My name is Olivia Smith, and I'll be presenting on the discoveries, the discovery of an island. So for cultural context, it was created in 450 BCE or before the era by Myron in ancient Greece.
Oops. Gotta play. I thought I was gonna
Myron was-
cross that out. Sorry, guys.
And then its purpose was classical antique, and it still serves that purpose today. This sculpture represents a youthful athlete and is still one of the most iconic works of classical antiquity. And it was recreated in bronze and marble all over, particularly in Rome. And then power, belief, and legacy. Its power was defined by movement. Myron was accredited with being the first artist to completely master the creation of sculpture that implies movement, specifically such explosive movement as in throwing discus. And then naturalism, the Greeks were much farther along on creating realistic sculptures because they were determined to represent their gods as humans. So with that goal in mind, they wanted to play around with representing the athlete and the athletic ideal, which leads me into its legacy. It's become one of the most iconic representations of the Greek Olympic Games. I'm sure you've seen it all over the place. And it was a great illustration of the athletic ideal. You can see the next slide, the muscles popping out and the veins and ribs and abs, pecs, all of those naturalistic details of athletic ideal. So for formal analysis, I'm going to focus first on line. So as a definition, lines define the edges of a form. They lead your eye around the composition and can communicate information through their character and direction. So the lines of the sculpture are not two-dimensional as the typical definition suggests, since it is a 3D object. But there's still evidence in some purpose. So you can see the two lines up in the top right corner kind of show that he is moving about to throw the discus. And then you can see this almost triangle-like combination of lines that really give it that power behind his movement. You can see he's using his full body to prepare to throw the discus. So you can see the way that he did use these lines to define the movement and the power behind it. And so the typical rule is that the larger the triangle and the longer the line, the more power and the bigger the difference. And then I also wanted to focus on shape and form. So shapes are two-dimensional and forms are three-dimensional. Shapes and form define objects in the space. So form is the basis of sculpture. It's not really shapes, as shapes are typically two-dimensional. But you can notice clear shapes like the discus and the circle. Even though they're represented three-dimensionally, it's really a circle. But other than that, there's not very many typical two-dimensional shapes in this sculpture. But the lack of perfect mathematical shapes is one of the things that give it its robust sense of naturalism. You can see down in the lower right, everything is super detailed out. The only other shape would be the base here, and maybe the tree trunk. That's kind of holding the sculpture up. But other than that, it's very naturalistic, and this is my work slightly.
So I think, and get back to my other page here, I have a number of people who haven't completed their PowerPoints. And I think one of the likely problems, I don't know, I gotta help, I want to use this last part of our time together today to talk about that. By the description I got from some of you, I was thinking, could it be possible that you're using a laptop, an iPad, a desktop, without a microphone or camera? I see, Mackenzie, you're shaking your head, because I know,
I did this practice last week.
yeah, I know, do you have any idea what the difference might be?
Being on the internet versus being on actual software. that you know. That's. I looked it up. I tried logging in.
To your Microsoft 365, is that what you're talking about, logging into software?
I don't know. Software back to the top. I don't know.
Okay,
It still won't look great.
well, there have been a lot of technical problems here this time that we didn't have last time, as Mackenzie was telling you. I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on to kind of help you get this done. So, I guess the first thing is, do you have a microphone and a camera on your hardware? But I thought maybe I could do this. Let me no, I don't need that one. Maybe this one. I got a bunch of music on here. This is and I need it on here. There it is. And I brought one of my own PowerPoints in. I thought this would be a kind of dual purpose. See if we can figure out what the problems are, and then at the same time, I can actually show you my work. And so let me make sure I got the right share going. Looks like it. And so we do slideshow. Wait, I'm going to back up and show. Here's what I'm hoping all of you guys saw. Record slideshow. And so this, your recording device, though, is not set up or currently used by other apps. Select one of the other apps using it.
That's on Zoom.
Yeah, well, that was the big thing. I was wondering if it would do this while I was on Zoom. And I had to come in here to figure that out. And you're absolutely right. 2, 1. Well, anyway, let's see if it'll record it now.
Is recording.
Yes, good. And as I said earlier, got to hit that record button. And when you get a message like we just saw, still kind of mess around with it. Because Mackenzie,
It doesn't give you the option.
it's not up on the slideshow up in the top of the PowerPoint.
You have to be in like the actual PowerPoint app itself. It can't just be online. You have to actually go to the Microsoft app itself and then, because I had that issue at first, because I was like, where do you record it? It's not even on here. But you have to like actually go into the app like he has it and not just like pull up a Chrome browser and edit it on there. You have to pull up the actual PowerPoint.
Does that make sense, Mackenzie?
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping what'll happen here, and this is the whole point of doing this, or one of the points of doing this, is that I could see, excuse me. See where these things pop up and what you need to do to get to where you need to be, as they say. And so, I'm still recording here, so. So I was gonna tell you about my artwork. This is my artwork. This is one of my works of art from this is from 2003. This was, I had a show at the U City Library Gallery, and it is approximately 6 inches wide and approximately 9 inches tall. And this is, as you might guess, a regular bathroom sign. And, yeah, and I scratched off or painted the original, which said restroom, and I put with vinyl stick-on letters, Scotsman, Englishman. Whoa,
Yay,
yay.
not sure getting.
Well, let me tell you. Scotsmen are known for wearing kilts instead of pants. It's a traditional dress. You go around the world, you see traditional dress is very different from one culture to the next. And the Scotsman, the traditional dress is a kilt, which is like a skirt. And so that's the difference. And the Englishman would be the one wearing pants. So how did I get there? I'm sure you've seen a lot of people messing around with the signs. I had been doing that for a long time. This is a painting I made, 3.5 feet by 7 feet. This is actually hanging up in my living room as we speak. But I was really interested in this kind of binary thing. This idea of two things being the same and yet being different at the same time. And so this is where I started out, 1983. And this, or a couple of works like it, got into this exhibition called Missouri Painting. It was sponsored by the Missouri Arts Council. It was a big deal back, I'm not, almost 40 years ago. Bottom line though, I want you to remember, and that is why, I'll show you. It's not going backwards. That's why that symbol for the woman looked kind of different than what you see
Try
today.
pausing it and get it back.
Yeah, I think that's well, anyway, and this is the catalog, and there I am. This painting was so big, and this show was in Kansas City, and then it traveled, but my painting was too big for some of the exhibition spaces it was supposed to go to. So that's why in the catalog, they tell about 3 worthy artists, but they're not in the show after it left Kansas City. Oh man, my painting's too big. Anyway, but that was like my first big splash as a painter, as an artist. And so this is the early 1980s. There's a lot of artists working with signs at the time. I wonder if this will hot link for me. Nope.
I think it's because you're recording.
Yeah, I think it is because I'm recording too. I already got Zoom, and then I got PowerPoint recording. It won't let me go the next step. But at any rate, this is an article. It was by a guy named Hal Foster, was in Art in America. I read it actually, it was 40 years ago. I always read the trade magazines, if you will, and bottom line, he had talked about all of these artists that were using signage, as he said, as both a target and as a weapon. And so kind of bring you up into the postmodern world. A lot of times artwork is about critiquing what it is itself, what the artwork is itself, or maybe even the nature of how we get meaning from artwork. And so anyway, I had been interested for a long time in these kind of universal signs. And this is binary because there's the text, there's an image. I've changed the text, but it still fits the image. I thought that was really kind of an interesting place to play around in my artwork. And so I got some more. This is what Hal Foster was talking about. This is in Times Square. Abuse of power comes as no surprise. I think this is from 1983. I was still working, forgive me, I was still working on this PowerPoint when I brought it in, but I thought, well, I got something here, we'll see if it works. But this is a message board, and this is the artist Jenny Holzer, and it was the kind of art that I was really attracted to. I like the idea of words, meaning, picture, meaning, and so that was one of my heroes at the time. Second, this is actually a neon light that was salvaged from a motel that was tore down. It says the whole year in, and it was they changed it to, took the W out, tried to manipulate this to be the whole you're in, and that actually should be, you know what I mean, taking meaning, changing and get around. One of the most famous artists to emerge out of this time was this artist, Barbara Kruger. This image, I don't know if you're seeing this, how much you guys watch news or anything, but bottom line, this is still being used today as a protest piece regarding women's rights. And we had that back in the 80s. It's still going on. We're still not past that yet. But this is Barbara Kruger. And again, image, text. Another guy I really looked up to. This is a guy named Joseph Kosuth, 1 and 3 chairs. In this, he has photographed. In this, he has the actual chair he photographed. And over here, well, let me zoom in, is the dictionary entry, the definition of the word chair, 1 and 3 chairs. Another one of my heroes, Kay Rosen, phantom limb. So talking about like my stuff, you got to kind of sit there and kind of figure it out. What's a Scotsman wear and stuff. Anybody want to take a shot at what this is about? Carter.
The 2 letters remind me of peanut butters.
Yeah, P and B, no J, but. Do you know what the idea of a phantom limb is? Good, I'm glad, and I hope you never experience this. But there. Where is it?
Phantom limb is kind of like when you use, some form of your body, like whether it's a full arm or just arm in or a leg or something, but you still have the feeling that it's there.
Yeah, it's a sensation, it's your mind.
But your brain's still telling you that's there, so you can like sort of. like,
Yes.
experience pain,
Yeah.
like try to move stuff with it, even though it's.
Yes, absolutely. That's right on the. And like the word, like the idea, like what it describes, the letters aren't really there. It's your mind that really has to fill that out. Give you the HANTOMLIMB, phantom limb. So anyway, this is the kind of stuff that some crazy artist like myself, I will get tangled up in this stuff and love it. But I was thinking about this too. I don't think that the idea of having written word and visual image is, it's certainly not a new idea. And that's exactly how the illustrated manuscript, which we spoke about in this class, actually works. Here is the image, here's the text. They support each other, just like my signs, the image and the text. Next one, another illustrated manuscript, illuminated manuscript. I don't have the text here, but the part of the text is right here on the illustration. And since you guys know iconography, you know who this is. That's Jesus, right? We know the dove is the Holy Spirit. And this guy right here, this is kind of an interesting figure. That's God the Father. And some religions would not like you to illustrate God the Father. It's prohibited. And even more so, in some religions, even spelling the word God is a sin. So you see, like sometimes you see people write G-D. Anyway.
They got my hand somewhere.
Yeah,
They got my.
of course. Yeah, I'm sure. Anyway, and this kind of all boils down to semiotics, which is a general philosophy theory of signs and symbols with their function in both artificially constructed and natural languages, and comprises syntactics, semantics, pragmatics, and dig into semiotics a little deeper. This is the branch I was most interested in, semiotics that deals with the formal relations between signs or expressions in abstraction from their signification and their interpreter. So that's what I was doing. I put a restroom sign and I changed it. Of course, that was 30 years ago. People do it all the time now, but I was in some other shows here too. This is an international jury show in 2000, and there's my name. I love to see my name in print. Texas National. These signs, the people that deal with these kinds of theories in art knew what I was doing. So we could speak the same language. In fact, those were issues on the front burner as described in Hal Foster's seminal essay, Subversive Signs. And so anyway, and I was in the international jury show again in 2006. I had a pretty good run there with this kind of stuff. And this is what I showed you at the beginning. Pulled them together, had a show in U City. This is a two-person show. Kansas City. Myself, Lawrence Randall, existential man. The text changes the meaning of this symbol. You see this differently because I took off men's. This was one that got in at one of the international shows. Marie Antoinette. You get it?
That's her.
That is her. And guess what? Her head's not connected to her body.
Oh, that's kind of clever.
Ah, yeah.
She decapitated herself out.
So anyway, that was been my kind of career for a long time, was about looking at things. And one of the definitions of art is that art makes you see old things in new ways. And so I think that's the last one. I can stop.
I will never look at a bathroom sign again the same.
Good. Absolutely. Thank you, Blake. I knew who that was when yeah, I'm gonna save that too, because I'm gonna put that up. And so let me see, what are we at here?
My mushroom would clap, but his arms are not long enough.
Well, hey, thanks, guys. So anyway, I think this recorded. And I had some people having problems getting it to me. I solved some of the problems. Some of you put these on your OneDrive, and gave me a link to your OneDrive, but I can't get into your OneDrive because that's like a private storage for you, not for me to go in and snip around. So anyway, send it, email if you can. If you can't do that and you haven't turned them in, bring them in here on Wednesday. One of the purposes of doing this too, by the way, was to see how the flash drive would work on this. And so apparently it does. Let's see if I can play that back. File Explorer. Let's see if I recorded this. Yeah, that's what I.
Well, at least it's recorded on the Zoom.
Yeah, it is recorded on the Zoom, and I'm just doing this for my own experiment, because that's, I'm sure, what you guys are doing. And I apologize if that Windows 365 didn't work. This whole project, and you can ask Mackenzie Clark, because we went through this last year with no problems. They've done some things to the server. There's some things, but I don't even know about. Bottom line is that's why they give you guys an iPad, and because you're a student, you get Microsoft 365. I thought that was going to be enough tools to get us where we needed to go. But so anyway, are you guys ready to leave?
Mushroom is ready to sleep.
Yeah. So those of you, for whatever problems, and I've worked out all of them except for just a few, and we'll get this fixed, and we'll watch some more of these on Wednesday. And with that, I'll see you guys later.